nature, environment on the fringes of economic science. Facts detached from truth, that too on the fringes, but on media. Two significant contributors to the existence of everything that needs, that demands, everything that stays relevant, everything that stays honest. And those contributors, those that fuel the true movement of anything, is there on the ice. Maybe as spectators, dancing to the tune of the vested interest. It's a disgusting, disturbing reality. And we are encountering it. And we need to encounter it for the rest of our lives. Even in a society like Kerala. Embedded journalism becoming the biggest threat to true economics is the most most imminent threat to the existence of an egalitarian, progressive society. Where do we stand? Where can we go? Where do we need to start? It's so disturbing. There is a High Court verdict giving protection or stressing the protection, the inherent protection attached to each and every living and non-living beings on earth from climate change. It's a historic judgment. You can't call it a judgment. It's actually an outlet that the Supreme Court, the supreme legal body of a state, it's a forced. It's something that they had to go. It was burning inside, and it's an outlet saying that where do we stand now? There are. It is a statement made when we are witnessing unprecedented climate change events that makes us realize that we are just among the numerous helpless beings in this planet. Now, we must stick to reality, or we must come back to reality. We were talking about things on the fringes, and on both sides, the one is given space to enter, to be part of that event, and the one who is still kept as a spectator, a mute spectator, is few things happening around the globe. And the first thing is the International Year of Millets, a day on the conservation of wetlands. There is Forest Conservation Act. There is talks on climate finance. There is talks regarding carbon sink. There is a looming threat called climate refugees. All these reminds us that the superpowers, the decision makers, are taking things seriously, or rather they are assessing things seriously. But does that mean that they are endorsing it? They are practicing it. They are putting that observations into practice. That is something that we have to analyze, and that is where we come to note. We are coming here to our own state, Kerala. What do these terms mean? International Year of Millets. Does that have any significance? It's an initiative by the Indian government, something we have to appreciate, regardless of the politics. But as we uh, as we as we mentioned a little while earlier, is that a genuine intention, or that was there sincerity involved in the, or was there heart involved in, sincere art involved there in that endeavor? I think you have to doubt it. I think you need to be skeptical, because you can see the provisions regarding the Forest Conservation Act. The experts are telling that it's an unscientific initiative where the crop patterns, the rain, the lifestyles, the farming patterns, everything has been completely disregarded, and it is merely an initiative to stress people that you need to plant trees. Planting trees is an initiative you can take up in the primary levels of your schooling, but it's not something that is a duty of an elected government. There need to be a standard procedure, a scientific, pragmatic approach, considering the diversity that we encounter, or rather we possess. So when that Forest Conservation Act is there, it's there in front of us. The International Year of Millets, to the initiative to make it real, the International Year of Millets, that too has to be, that too must remain under suspicion, or that too is a bit cloudy. Why? Because millets is all about water conservation, as experts say. It's about a cropping pattern. It's about a pattern where we use less water, we use less pesticides. Both these are disturbing realities, something that we need to encounter. Shortage of water and the health issues created by pesticides. If we can address both, what will be the outcome? This outcome includes climate finance, because climate finance is an initiative. It's a kind of compensatory package that has to be taken up by the superpowers for these green initiatives that demand huge amount, huge sums of money, something that even the second world countries cannot afford. So when climate finance is all about the initiatives taken to create a green economy, climate finance, when that is climate finance, and millets is doing the same thing. It's about conservation of water. It's about protection from pesticides. Especially in Kerala, it's a less agrarian society, or less. It's a society that is on the bottom list of self-sufficiency in food. But still, it is something that we have to understand, we have to promote, something we have to discuss. Conservation of water, it has become very disturbing reality, something that we too need to take care of. Like what is happening in Bengaluru. It's the entire economy of Karnataka, the state of Karnataka is probably on the kind of color, the vibrancy created by Bengaluru. I think this will be affected, very badly affected. So where do we stand? So water conservation has become a big reality. So International Year of Millets, climate finance and wetlands, all these go hand in hand. And In the very same way, this High Court judgment regarding the protection that has to be given to each and every living being, living and non-living being in this world. Of course, everything has life, because it's a big chain, like the food chain. If the supply gets cut, it's complete blackout. It will be pitch black, and that reality is something that we are now encountering. We have discussed that in another video, man versus wild. Loss of habitat, loss of water, and what does that leads us to? It's a constant fight between man and the wild. Peace lost, money lost, life lost. So there is a complete imbalance happening, complete disequilibrium happening. So we have to address that. We have to realize that way ahead is climate finance, something that is kept on the fringes, as we quoted earlier. So that is what this High Court has addressed. Something that it's a kind of warning signal. It could be a request, considering that each and everything has to be protected. Nothing stands on its own. Never. We see that in the economic scenario in the post-COVID. We cannot open the world unregulated. There could be terrorism. There could be ethnic clashes. There could be this contagious diseases, all leading to a complete shift in the way we take up jobs. So opening has become a different issue now. The way we open up, the way we open our doors, all this has become a different thing. All this are now taken into consideration in a different way. So we cannot go on like this. There need to be balance, and everything is connected. And when everything is connected, when one chain is broken, you can understand what the whole world comes to a standstill. You can see the wars. You can see the greed to capture these resources. It could be oil. It could be diamonds. The fight for strategic water point or sea points. So there is a complete imbalance going on, and what this imbalance is teaching us is what is mentioned in that High Court judgment. Everything is linked, and you are not supposed to break that chain. And that is where we are coming back to Kerala. It's an open society in all means. We seek refuge, we give refuge, and we embark on a journey of better life. We are willing to go anywhere, willing to be there, and willing to be a citizen of that very place where we live, where we work. So such a society is realizing it could be called a blessed society for the water resources we have, for the progressive educational system we have. But we realize that these serious issues are not discussed right now in this Kerala society, and that is why we are talking about this embedded journalism, a journalism where it is there with the power, and who holds that power? It could be a Karimal Karta in Kerala, and it could be a Bill Gates in the US. He fixes the prices. Bill Gates fixes the price of. He sets the price. I mean, he makes the price. He calls the shots. Even if it is a case of vaccine, he prices it, and then he arrives he comes up as someone who is there to save the economy, to save the environment, who is there to be the voice of the voiceless. So he is there, one in power. And this embedded journalism is with the power. That is something that is happening in Kerala. You can see the owners of these media houses in Kerala. So we see that there is embedded journalism. And when this embedded journalism is there, you keep that important aspects, truth and reality in media, green economy in economics. You keep all this on the wayside, on the fringes. So that is the issue. And now, this is something we have to address. Some of these important topics. Yes, in Kerala we face this lifestyle disease. You see people overweight. You see diabetes. This is part of a lifestyle. This is part of a lifestyle where we are forced to forego, we are forced to dump a life that is mixed with nature. You are talking about carbon sink. It's about a lifestyle where we protect the resources, the life that makes us a less greenhouse economy, an economy, a society that doesn't endorse this greenhouse gases. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle of green economics, and this green economics is actually the most economical economics. It's the most feasible because the amount that we are going to spend in future for the health issues created by this climate change is something that you can't even imagine. Like the prices that the empires pay for weapons, including nuclear weapons. In the very same way, a lifestyle that was chosen to make life fast, to make life less money consuming, has made us a consumer society that spends most of its life spending for health. You spend for health. It's so disturbing. It's so it's a complex thing, but it's so open. It's so transparent, and it's not a complex thing. It's a reality because we are living a life with complete disregard for the life around us. And when that happens, the chain breaks. And then we reach a break-even point where it's about recession. A recession where the earth unwheels itself. Having lost its balance, her balance, it unleashes. And we now are on the wrong side. So that is what happens when you break that chain. The amount that we spent, when that amount we are going to spend when that began to hurt us, we began to realize that we are spending too much for a life of peace, life with peace. We are talking about wars. We are talking about concentration of wealth. We are talking about concentration of resources in an open world. And that is when that concentration happens, you know that it is very uneven. Whether it's a case of climate, whether it's a case of natural resources, whether it's a case of oil resources, whether it's a case of alternative for oil, you know it's very uneven. Not everybody possesses everything. We have discussed that many times before. That triggers this wars, this conquests. But now that has come to a standstill, and that has to come to a standstill. So now, because we are going to pay for health, we need to make payment. We need to incur. It's about expenditures that we are going to make for a negative lifestyle. So what is kept on these fringes, what is kept on this wayside, we need to bring them back, bring them home, bring them in. Something that is this media is not doing. And that is where this embedded journalism comes in. A journalism that doesn't promote life, that doesn't promote truth, and doesn't stand with what is real. We are talking about the demographic dividend. We are losing out on. Whether it's the case of India, whether it's the case of Kerala, we are losing out. With no census, whether it's caste census, whether it's a regular census, with no census, we don't know what is happening around. We don't know who is evolving. We see people leaving. We see people leaving the state, leaving the nation, leaving their comfort, leaving their home destination for a better life. Maybe they have found a better life, or it could be an escape. Whatever it is, when that is happening, we see that there is an aging population. An aging population could be an unproductive population, and when along with this unproductive population, along with the spending that we are going to make, this individual is supposed to make to sustain a healthy life, or to retain his health. Not about a healthy lifestyle, but to retain a minimum health. We see burning wallets. It's an economic crisis, an unproductive, unhealthy economic system, and a population is evolving. By 2050, by 2060, we see the productivity is going to decline. Whether it's what is happening around the nature, or what is happening inside the economy, what is happening inside each society, we are going to spend too much to stay healthy. And that is where the initiatives by these legal agencies, it could be a Supreme Court, it could be people who create or make these laws, they are taking some initiatives to make to unveil, or rather give an outlet, or make people realize what is real. It's about this insurance policies, more inclusive insurance policies, and insurance policy that has to take care of an aging population that will reach its peak by 2050 or 2060. It is also talking about, it is also taking action. It is also talking about Baba Ramdev's, Nestle's, who promote, who are just like this media, embedded, promoting what is not real. They're talking about these legal authorities are talking about these differently abled persons, just like that High Court law on this right of each and every being in this, every living, non-living being in this planet. These laws, these initiatives, these reminders are also about an inclusive, economic, green, social living, where we make sure that developments, the initiatives are all encompassing. It's something that embraces everyone. It is something that is accessible to everyone. It is something that makes sure that no one is left out and no one is unpleasant. It is the unpleasant tigers, it's the unpleasant elephants that is roaming around our states. We are going to encounter them. We are going to see them more frequently on our morning walks. That schedule is shifted because we might directly be there on our way, on our walk. While we are on the walk, we might directly be meeting an elephant or a tiger. What that indicates, it's an unpleasant, it's a disturbed individual from that forest. She or he is leaving his native place in search of something better. It could be a water, it could be food. Just like what we call migration of people, of individuals, of citizens for a better life. So this encounters, this conflicts is a result of mismatch and a totally regressive economic policy that is very much very much distanced from what the nature actually promotes. We are talking about, so it's about a responsibility. How can we make them responsible? It's about the agriculture. It must become a profession that people take up as something that is elite, that is economically sustainable, a prestigious white collar job. Can we make such a society? Can we make real estate a noble profession? Something that takes nature into consideration, something that keeps the water bodies intact, something that doesn't extract nothing from nature. Real estate is mostly considered as something similar to politics, where the most unethical, the most ruthless, the most cunning prevail. That has to change. When these two become something that is completely under the supervision of government, something that you can do with dignity, something only people with dignity can do, something that people can do for a better economic prosperity can do. That makes a big difference. It might sound utopian, but it is something that has to settle, because if fighting for water, paying fine for watering your plantation, if that is real, if that is not utopia, something that is happening in Bengaluru, these two is not an utopian thing. There need to be a way we need to reuse things. It could be a fashion, it could be clothing, it could be the electronic gadgets. Can we make? We have discussed that in this video related to reuse of that technology. There are ways, there are options that promote green living. These are options where we can create employment and we can make the green world more green. It's a complex mix, especially in a closely interconnected economy. How long, how much, how far we can promote subsidies? That is an important issue when you're talking about millets, when you're talking about food sufficiency, when you're talking about the rights of agricultural laborers. It's an interconnected world. Subsidies is a very delicate thing. It's a very delicate thing that can impact international relations. Yes, in the very same way, tourism and food security. Venice is charging a fee for tourists. And this is The inhabitants, they feel their peaceful life is being affected. Nature is affected. Charging a fee, is that something that we can promote? It is something that has to be discussed, because we can promote it as part of responsible tourism. A tourism where a tourism that enhance the place we visit and the person who visit. It must enhance, it must mutually complement. It is something that should not derail the peace of mind, the peace of living, and the nature. It's a very thin border separating narrow nationalism and responsible tourism. If this fee can make people realize that we need to make payment, we need to make compromises to create a world where nature permits us to be what we are, and nature provides us with everything that we want, if not more than we want. So in that way, you can say the initiative, or rather the call, the kind of objection from the people of Venice is something that is welcome. Can we do that in Kerala? We need to discuss that. Will that promote responsible tourism? Will that create a green tourism? We can see what is happening in Maldives. Maldives is an economy that is surviving, if not exaggerated, that is surviving solely through tourism. But when a religiously fundamentalist regime comes in, what will that do? You know the history of Iran's, Afghanistan, especially Afghanistan. Afghanistan has a tradition that anybody will be proud of. But what is the situation right now? Maldives cannot go on like that, and Maldives is a strategic position, and the other nations too cannot let that go like this. So tourism and subsidies and responsible tourism, all this go hand in hand, and it's a delicate balance between economic independence, international economic relations, and green economy. And now that is where we have to talk about. That is where we are coming back to. We will be coming back to that High Court judgment. It's about climate finance. It's about climate refugees. We can call these animals tiger and elephants climate refugees, because they are leaving their native, they are leaving their domestic territory because of a life that they lost. It's about life where they had access to clean water, clean food. When that is lost, we become refugees. And this climate refugees is something that will be part of each and every society. It will be part of economics. It will be part of economic policies. It will be part of international relationships. So, will the authorities open their eyes? For that, it must become part of our media, especially Kerala media. Let's stay part of our nature. Let's live with nature. Let the media open their eyes and realize that telling truth, being true, is also part of journalism. Let them realize that, at least now, at least this time.